Hello, I'm Dennis, I'm from Germany, and in this video we're talking about the tipping culture from the US and why this culture absolutely blew my mind. You will find out in this video. Have fun. Yeah, so hello to my next video, and today we have the topic tipping in the US. And to be honest, I never thought so deeply about this topic before until I was the first time in the US. I found out that the US is like definitely completely something different than Germany. We will react to a video where they're explaining how tipping culture took over in the US.
Purchasing an office chair online, and they're asking me if I want to leave a tip.
It started very interesting.
25, 20, 18% tip. For what?
Tipping culture has gone way too far.
Nowadays, you're asked for a tip nearly everywhere.
Are we tipping at drive-thrus?
15, 20% on a sweatshirt purchase.
If you're frustrated,
I hear about that. Backstory, I was I think it was in New Jersey, but we was in a restaurant, and after we finished to eat our food, and then we was like, okay, let's give her like, I don't know, $1-2 as a tip. The woman went to the table when we was already packing the stuff, and she was looking at us like, okay, is everything right? Like she was kind of angry and definitely confused. It was with my stepfather in the past, and he asked her like, is everything right? Did we pay like was it fine, or did we miss some money or did you miss some money there? And she said like, no, but the tipping is like very low. And my stepfather was asking like, how do you mean, like how much it should be? And she told us like exactly this, like 20-25%. It depends, of course. I was absolutely like, what, 25%? Okay.
you're not alone. A survey by Bankrate found that a third of people are annoyed by those pre-entered tip screens and think tipping culture has gotten
out of control.
Businesses and cities have tried to move away from tipping, but
I don't see any kind of a future where tipping completely goes away.
That's Dr. Mike Lin, a Cornell psychologist.
Okay, this is interesting, like a future where the tipping is gone away. I don't think that this is like always. Tipping is not something bad. We have a different kind of tipping in the US, like or in Germany, to compare. And this is, I think, something what is like, on a completely different logic, like build it on another logical system.
I've done more research on tipping than anybody else.
And he'll help us explain why the US became so dependent on tipping, why it seems to be everywhere now, and why we're probably not getting rid of it.
In the US, it looks a little bit like, it's everywhere. There you go.
Tipping really became popular after the Civil War, when formerly enslaved Black Americans went into service positions, like waiters and railroad porters.
By the way. I didn't know
the railroad
about
industry deliberately paid them low wages on account of their ability to work for tips. And arguably, it was this influx of service workers who were receiving low wages that contributed to the growth of tipping.
This is the history about that, and it's very interesting to find it out, because I really don't know about the story about what is it about, why this tipping is existing.
By the early 1900s, as minimum wages were being established, tipped workers were initially excluded, until 1966, when tipped workers were given their own minimum wage. It was raised to $2.13 in 1991, where it stayed ever since.
Okay, so since 1991, the tipping minimum wage is like given. It's very interesting because to compare it, in Germany we don't have a tipping minimum wage. You don't need to tip. You never need to tip in Germany. You can do it, but you don't have to do it. It's common to do it in restaurants or delivery services. Yes, it's common. You should do it, but you don't have to do it.
Consumers in this country are aware that servers make a substandard minimum wage, and that contributes to their willingness and desire to tip them.
Some states require employers to pay just that tipped minimum wage to workers, where some states like California and Minnesota require them to pay workers the full minimum wage, and then tips are added onto that. And those minimum wages affect how people tip.
In Germany, it's like this. You get, in general, you get like a minimum wage, or every month you get a salary. To this salary, you get tips. These tips are just volunteer services, like volunteer from customers. In the US, it's like a kind of different, because tipping is like, don't let me lie, but is it not like that in the US you get tipping from the customers to pay your bills? Like this is like you kind of, this is your salary. Is it right that the tipping is your salary? The minimum wage, the money that you get from a restaurant is not like a lot. So maybe let's say restaurant, for example. So you get from the restaurant, for example, you get like, I don't know, $7.25 an hour, and the rest you get over tips, because without the tips you cannot pay your bills. So this is like another system.
41% of people said businesses should pay their employees better rather than relying so much on tips. But in practice, people don't like that.
Is there a difference between salaries in restaurants or in bars and if you are in a hotel? I'm not sure. Is it not a difference between this? Like in one you don't get a salary big, and I think in a hotel you get normal salaries. It's like it's like a bonus. Extra money from the customers is like nice to have, but it's not like the main income. Or in hotels, is it like that?
I've done the research where I give people hypothetical menus. One where they have regular prices, and at the bottom it says a customary tip.
This is really interesting, because if it's written there, you know that you don't need to ask. Because when we was in USA and we just paid it, I cannot remember that it was somewhere written that how much we have to tip. Menu prices have been increased 15% to pay our staff. This is kind of nicer in my eyes, because you don't need to think about it. I would say the people still will give $1-2 if you already have like 50% extra increased on the menu. I think this is like a very smart system. It should be so easy as possible for the customer. If it's already included, you don't have to think about it. You just do it, and maybe it's easier for you. I think this is so genius, like in compared to the other system.
Service establishments have to compete for employees, which means paying them more. But paying them more requires them to raise prices, and customers are already facing inflation. And so what's a business to do?
Yes, this is a good question. And I like this professional view from this guy. And it's very interesting also for me to compare it with our system.
Tipping was seen as un-American, even in the 1800s.
Oh,
in the 1900s,
really?
polls showed Americans wanting to get rid of tipping. Today, 2/3 of Americans have a negative view of tipping. But it's so ingrained into American price models and policies that tipping is probably here to stay. But where and how much you tip is still up to you.
It was very nice explained. The USA, I really don't know that it was forbidden to tip in the or the beginning of the 20th century. I really don't know that. But and that they try to get rid of it. That means that Americans don't like their tipping system. Is it right? Do I understand that right? But I understood that many Americans doing it, of course, because they have to, but they don't really like it. Let me know in the comments, what is your opinion to this topic? In my opinion, tips should be like a bonus, like an extra. It looks like that it always also some kind of change in the US, that the US also is like thinking about it, and this adding the 15% extra like into the menu price. This is like a very good solution, my opinion. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments, and I hope I will see you in the next video. So bye bye.